Hi, this is Rebecca Kokendorfer. Welcome to Atomic Mindfulness. Welcome, everyone. Today is the last day of the Atomic Mindfulness program. I am so proud of all of us for showing up here and devoting ourselves to self-improvement, inner work. And it ends up that it's not just for us, but it's for those that we love and also for the world. So I believe that we have sent some ripples of positivity out into the world these past 10 days. And my intention for all of us is that those ripples reach the people who need them, and that, may this make a difference in the world. May this bring some joy and lightness into the world. Today, our final day, we're going to do a tapping session. And I don't know if tapping is new to you. I'm fairly new to it, and I'm fascinated by it. And our guest is Elizabeth Sloan. She is in England, and she's going to answer some questions about tapping, and then she's going to run us through a tapping session, because I believe that this is a mindfulness technique, an atomic mindfulness technique that you will want to put in your tool chest, because your fingers are with you always. And anytime you're in a situation or your emotions come up or you feel reactive or stuck, you can excuse yourself. You can go to the restroom, you can go to another room, and you can put yourself through a beautiful tapping session to bring you back to center and peace. So Elizabeth Sloan, coming to us from London, thank you very much for being with us. Elizabeth, would you introduce yourself and also tell us a little bit about tapping? Now, I know it's a vast subject, but a little bit about how this tapping can be a powerful atomic mindfulness technique that we are going to want to just at least be semi-skilled in, so that we can put it in our tool chest and use it whenever we want to.
Absolutely. I'm very impressed by tapping. I had heard about it before I trained to do it from a therapist friend. And I just thought, well, that's nonsense. How could, tapping on your body make any difference to anything? Until I needed it and tried it sort of out of desperation, really, with something I'd been traumatized by, that nothing else seemed to help me get past it. And what it basically is tapping on acupressure points that are related to acupuncture meridians. And acupuncture has been around for at least a couple of thousand years. It's very well researched, and acupuncture pressure points were used. When this was discovered, it was sort of discovered by accident, like a lot of wonderful things. It came about when the story I heard was that there was a woman who had a fear of water, and she was seeing a therapist who I think they was tapping under her eye, which is related to the stomach meridian. And she went outside to see the pool outside his window, and she realized that she wasn't afraid of water anymore. And it sort of grew out of that. It uses quite a lot of acupressure points. There's some on the head, there's one under the arm. There are some on the hands, the fingernails that we don't generally use. But to add to your point, Rebecca, of being able to step out for a minute and just do some tapping if you're feeling stressed out at work or in a family gathering, and we know all those holidays are coming up. We can also do it like I'm tapping right now, but I'm doing it out of frame. And how many meetings do we have to do on Zoom now? So if something's bothering us, or if we're anxious about something that we're expected to say, we can be tapping on the side of the hand and silently acknowledging our anxiety. And what I love about tapping, one of the many things, is that it allows us to actually acknowledge something that's going on, rather than try and squash it down or pretend it's not going on. It does actually say, yes, I'm anxious. I'm anxious, damn it. And I'm going to tap on it and I'm going to see it for what it is. And then I'll show you how to do that when we get to that. But it's been tremendously helpful for me. And being a Reiki master, I use my intuition to help guide a client through what they're experiencing. But one of the most wonderful things is when they realize that they've hit the core of an issue. And with the tapping, while they're tapping, this point on the side of the hand is the psychological reversal point. So if you are tapping on the side of the hand, you can say, oh, I'm really anxious, or I'm really bugged by what this person is doing or saying, or oh, my shoulder hurts so badly, I don't know how I'm going to get through the day. Whatever it is, don't turn away from it. Just tap and acknowledge that it's there. And by doing that, we're honoring our human selves, because that voice that tells us that we're anxious, if you think of it in terms of evolution, we've survived as a species because of just that number one instinct being survival. So it's always the number one job. And if we feel threatened, or if someone else has felt threatened and behaved badly towards us, you can generally find the source of, like, somebody is needing to survive. Like someone had a lousy childhood where they felt they had to survive all the time. So they may not have the bandwidth to be gracious about something that's triggered them. And it's the same with us. Before I started doing all this lovely work, I was stressed out all the time. I worked for a big corporation, and I used to work in the entertainment industry. No stress there. So it was very it was just like stress all the time. And on top of that, I had depression. So I was very vulnerable to all of these things. So to discover something that would actually be like moving the boulders out of the way with a stick of dynamite was super helpful. And this has been that for me. It's part of a long journey back to how I want to be, which is reconnecting with the inner light that I believe we all have, all of us. And it's the separation from that light, that spark of consciousness, that powerful presence. It's the separation from that is anxious producing, because it feels wrong. We know we deserve to feel that self-love. We know we deserve to feel strong and present and grounded. So to not have that, it just doesn't feel right. And however we describe it, and I've heard it described many different ways by clients, it could be darkness, it could be, whatever descriptions. It's up to the individual how they describe how they feel, but it generally is a separation from how they want to feel.
From the
So
light that is a natural part of us. I like that too, the joy that's always within us. Now, do
yes.
you recommend that people begin tapping in a particular way? Is there a right way or a wrong way to tap?
Well, the basic recipe that we all start with in training, and it's probably the easiest one to remember before you branch off and start going on like really detailed journeys with it, like you would with a practitioner. The easiest way to think of tapping is that you are soothing that little animal that is looking to warn you that something's wrong. So it might start as anxiety. Like I've had clients who say they were born worried, like they would have woken up anxious. The easiest thing to do when that happens, and I've done it myself when I had a panic attack after a car accident, was just to start here. It couldn't be any easier. It's the side of the hand, either side. It used to be called the karate chop point, and now it's just called the side of the hand. But karate chop is probably a bit easier to remember because it's that. It's not this side, it's that side. So tapping on this side of the hand, we would say something along the lines of, say if it's anxiety, I'm feeling anxious. I'm noticing it in my chest. I'm having trouble breathing, and I love and accept myself. And some people have trouble with those words. Some people, when they start, they can't even say they love and accept themselves. We have to tiptoe around it. Like, I'm willing, or I'm open to the idea that I can accept myself. So it's all about love. It's all about compassion. Um, and it is about honoring that voice that's saying there's something wrong. And you go, I can hear you. I can hear you. I can hear that you believe there's something wrong. And I love you anyway. And you're honoring your human self for having this experience. You're acknowledging your presence, and you're acknowledging yourself as a human being, honoring yourself as a human being for having this experience. It's not easy being a human, whatever your level of lifestyle or prosperity or anything. We can be concerned about something because someone jumped out at us when we were 5 years old, and it's always been stored away in that little file of dreadful possibilities.
Yeah, I have a question for you. Is it only unwanted emotions that we tap through? Or when you're feeling really happy and content, does tapping acknowledge those and perhaps take those deeper? Is tapping used for positive emotions as well as what we would call or think of as negative?
People don't generally tap for positive emotions, but it's a really good idea. But it's if you're already happy, just enjoy being happy. You could acknowledge it with like collarbone point. And we'll go through the points in a second if people don't know them. You go, oh, this is so lovely. I feel so happy. Because the other points are more like reinforcing. Once you've acknowledged something, you can go as deep as you want with it before you reframe. Once you feel that you've really examined what it is, and if I were working with a client, we might look into the past and see when it could have started. And we go back when we're doing chakra clearing work, we might go back as far as a couple of people who convinced that they had a sense of how much they were wanted when they were in utero. Um, like really, really been very, very clear about it. It's not conjecture. It's like I knew I wasn't wanted, from halfway through my gestation. And you go, wow, okay,
Fascinating,
let's tap on that.
fascinating. Do
Yeah.
you want to, so you're going to lead us through a session. Now, how does this work? Do you talk and then we each individually repeat? Or would
Yeah.
you like to, yeah, we can do that then. And then people
Yes.
can kind of customize it for themselves. Oh, yes, I would love to have that experience, please.
Yes,
Please.
exactly. And in fact, that was how I realized that it was extremely powerful because, as I think I mentioned, I had an experience at that big corporation that I was working for, which will remain nameless. But I was in a very stressful work environment with them, and it was all about producing videos, photo shoots, commercials, and somebody blew up at me, and I couldn't even a year later. We had moved to Oregon from California. My husband was born and raised in Oregon. So that was like a good place. We were both burned out. He worked in that industry as well. And I watched a video with Wayne Dyer and Nick Ortner, and I substituted my own words. And that's what it's great if people do in a group. And there are borrowed benefits from tapping in a group as well. Like if one person is noticing anxiety and we all tap on anxiety, their benefits increase a lot. And it expands. It sort of is stronger for everyone to tap in a group, especially for something as straightforward as anxiety, which a lot of people have. So by all means, substitute your own words. Like if you feel it in your chest or if you feel it in your stomach. I've had clients who've noticed it consistently in those places, and neck and shoulders, lower back seem to be the most popular ones. But people can feel anxiety anywhere in their bodies and notice that. And it's
This
just
session that you're going to be leading us on, is it particularly for anxiety or inner voice, or what is it? Is it specific?
the inner voice is it's part of it. It's trying to warn you about something. So if you or anyone else has something specific, like an emotion like anxiety or anger, or well, anger's not really an emotion, but you know what I mean, a feeling like anger or something like that they would like to tap on. If not, I'll just work with anxiety because it's a really good one to illustrate.
Okay, everyone, are you ready to do a tapping session with Elizabeth? Okay, take it away,
Okay.
Elizabeth. I'm so excited for this.
So it would be good if we were all muted, if we're going to talk a lot, if we're going to repeat, because otherwise the picture gets really weird. So
Okay, we are all muted.
so if we start with the idea of anxiety, and I can use, for instance, the time that I had was starting to feel a panic attack after the car accident. Immediately started tapping on the side of my hand quietly and noticed the points. And I'll lead you through the points now so that when we start talking, you already know where they are. This is a really great one where you acknowledge, oh, I'm feeling anxious. This is the one that we use 3 times. And then we go to the top of the head. And some people like to start with the eyebrow point, but I like the top of the head because then you're just sort of working down. So that's right in the middle of the head with 2, you can do it one, doesn't matter, it's very forgiving protocol, but you do hit that point. And then there's an eyebrow point that's right at the inner edge, the inner end of the eyebrows, like right there. And we tap on that with 2 fingers and try and get it right on it, because what we're doing is we're tapping on the eye socket bone, basically. So we don't need to start going up here or anything, just stay on that point. And then the side of the eye, right at the outer crease, the outer point of the eye. And already this feels good to me, just going around these points. And then under the eye. So this point here, if you're looking straight ahead, it would be under your pupil. And then under the nose. Yeah, it's like that. And then this little dip between the lower lip and the chin. They call it the chin point, but it's not really the chin. And the next one, and this is a very soothing point, is if you feel under your collarbone, that ridge there, it's about 2 inches out from the middle. So right there. You tap on that one. And the next one is under the arm, about a hand's width down from the underarm. It's commonly known as the bra strap point. I can stand up a little bit to show you. So it's right there. Again, with 2 fingers. And those are the basic points that we'll use today. There are others, but that's maybe for another day because we don't want to run over time. So say, for instance, we're noting anxiety. We just jump on it immediately. And the undertone is, oh, there you are, anxiety. But we can say, I'm feeling anxious, or I'm noticing anxiety, depending on how close you want to get to it. I'm noticing anxiety, and I love and accept myself. I'm noticing that anxiety rising in my body, whatever it's doing, describe it. I'm finding it hard to breathe. My throat's tightening up. My stomach's doing backflips, whatever it is. And I love and accept myself. So you give it a little bit more detail the second time. And I'm feeling anxious. And I think I know why, but I'm not sure. I'm just noticing this anxiety. I'm noticing it in my chest. And still, I love, accept, and honor myself because here I am having this experience. And that's basically the message that you're giving to the anxiety, because it's there, it's trying to do a job. It's trying to help you. It's trying to save you. So then you go to the top of the head and you acknowledge it a little bit more. All this anxiety rushing through my body. Oh, I wish it would stop and leave me alone. I've had enough anxiety for one lifetime. I'm noticing my heart racing. It's pounding in my chest. And my skin is prickling. And this is so difficult. And I acknowledge myself for having this human experience. And I can be a compassionate witness for myself. And maybe I'm noticing this anxiety fading away now a little bit. Because the truth is that right here, right now, I am safe. I'm perfectly safe right here, safe in my house, safe in this body. And I'm choosing peace in my mind, peace in my body, and love in my heart. And I thank my primitive survival brain for looking to protect me. And I release all my emotional attachments to this anxiety. And I release it now. And then you would, using your own name, so you'd say, thank you, Elizabeth. I love you. So that would be a very basic way of working through it. And obviously, if I were to, if doing a session with somebody, it would be a lot more, it would be a lot more sort of pinpointing what was actually going on with them. We would find out where it could have started and just pull that out at the root, because that's the way to get rid of things, is where they started. You're still muted.
When we got to the part where it was time to say my name, I love you, Becky, I love you, Rebecca, it almost made me a little teary. And I wonder, is that a common experience?
Oh, yes. Because you come around to, when you've done something great for yourself. I don't know about you growing up, but there wasn't much of this, you're amazing. Kind of never, actually. You have a question, Alex. Let me have a look.
Yes,
Yeah.
she says that she learned tapping when she began doing, shadow work. Yes. And now the question went away.
Oh, it does bring you more anxiety.
Yes. Can you hear
Yeah.
me? Yesterday nobody could hear me. Can you hear me today?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. So I don't know if I learned it wrong, but saying it over and over, even just hearing you saying it, maybe it's because I'm not good at acknowledging and I don't have anxiety that much. I would say a little bit of anxious, but when I'm trying to calm myself, like at night to go back to sleep, I, hearing you keep acknowledging it was making my chest get harder and harder. So maybe I'm just not good at. Always have to be positive, always the happy girl, the positive person.
Yeah.
Maybe I've shoved it down so much. I don't know. And saying my name, that I'm okay, that felt very strange to me. So maybe I've learned this completely wrong. I'm very, very interested in
Yeah, it is really interesting that what the comparison I use with being nice all the time, stuffing things down. And it's not if you can think of like an old pair of gym socks, smelly socks. I don't want to deal with these. I'm going to throw them in the back of the closet. Well, you know how that ends up, or would end up, if we were ever to do something so unpleasant. Everything in your closet would start to smell like those socks. So the way what we do with tapping is we don't pretend that everything's okay, because very often they just aren't, or they haven't been, or people have been cruel to us when we were tiny, or we get our sense of safety thrown out of whack by a car accident. There are lots of ways that we can get derailed, but it's a matter of going to them as pulling those smelly socks out of the closet and putting them in the laundry. It's really basically what it is. It's admitting that the pain does exist. It's not having to be nice all the time. And it's giving ourselves the freedom to actually, be real about what's going on with our lives. And sometimes that does result in anxiety that's been suppressed for a long time. That it doesn't feel right that I'm not being nice. It doesn't feel like the right suit of clothes, or I'm in a different skin now, that I'm not just being polite to everybody when I'd rather just tell them to drop dead, leave me alone, go away.
Right.
Because that's a survival technique as well, being polite. So it's lovely when it's genuine, but it's this thing of, just making ourselves likable when, instead of telling the truth about something weird's going on with the light in here. Oh, well, never mind. Does that make sense?
It does. I guess part of mine is not it always needing to be liked, but in my business, I have to be diplomatic. And so you have to sometimes
Right.
not say drop dead the things that you want to say. You have to find a nice diplomatic way to tell them to bugger off, really,
Yes,
and that this
exactly.
isn't going to work, or set your boundary, setting boundaries a lot. So, anyway, I need to think about this.
Well, there's something
process.
that you can do. You can go when that's all done and you've achieved your desired outcome. You can actually do a little bit of time travel, because allegedly time's an illusion anyway. You can just put yourself in your mind back in that situation, or you can use an NLP device of putting it on a screen, which I use a lot. If someone's been in a traumatic situation, you put the situation on the screen so they don't actually have to be in it. And you can actually have that be on a screen with you interacting with that person. And you can tap your way through the outcome that you would rather have. Like, the truth is, you're a big fat, well, I shouldn't, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Sorry, we're not using that word anymore.
No, but
But you
I
know what I mean.
understand. It's kind
Yeah.
of like a technique that I use that's just so old school. I think about the situation, the meeting I was in where I had to be diplomatic, whatever. And I'll afterwards, like, okay, next time when I'm in the situation, I'll just do it in a mirror. Here's how I'm going to handle the next situation. It seems like similar to that, right?
Yes. But the situation that
Like
you've just
more,
been
this
in,
is more,
whatever feelings you had about it, that's what you're addressing.
okay. Not
Nothing
how
we
I
can do
would do
about
it
the other
differently.
person. It's just our own feelings that you can it's a bit complicated to explain within this time frame, but you can actually go back in and rewrite that scene. And I really can relate to that. I used to have to sit in pre-production meetings where I was tearing my hair out with disbelief of the stupidity of what we were proposing to do. But it was out of my control, you know. So did
Are
that
there are there
answer your
ways that
question?
people can work with you privately, Elizabeth, even online?
Oh yeah, I work with people all over the world from wherever I am, because we have this amazing internet thing now. So I have clients in England, in Europe, Australia, a lot of clients in the US.
If
It's
people would like to do, work with you some more, how do they get in touch with you?
Probably I would recommend through my website. And I actually have Rebecca, maybe you'd be kind enough to share these in an email. I have a couple of
Yes, but say them out loud too, Elizabeth, for people who
yes.
are watching the video on YouTube, because
I
sometimes
have a
then we
I
don't
have a
have a
couple
link
of
handy.
yeah, I have a couple of things that I'd like to give people just for showing up, because it's lovely to see you, and we can put them in the text under the YouTube video as well. One is a very relaxing guided meditation. It's about connection with your own inner light, your own spark, and also it's very comforting because it connects you with the rest of consciousness. So there's also a separate link for a daily breathing and visualization exercise that is based on the work of the Heart Math Institute. that if you do it regularly, it's been clinically proven to bring your heart and mind into coherence, which brings down your fight and flight possibility enormously. It lowers the cortisol in your body. And I also found an article explaining the link between EFT tapping and how it speaks directly to the amygdala. So I can just drop that in the chat right now. Because what I normally do in meetings like this is, oh, I didn't do, that's the wrong link. That's this Zoom link. All right.
And do you have a web address? Those sound wonderful. Do you have a website address that's easy to say that people might memorize and be able to go to right away?
Yes, it's groundedalignment.com.
Oh, yes. Grounded Alignment, GroundedAlignment.com. That will help.
Yeah. And I hope you enjoy the guided meditation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
That
wonderful.
in itself is helpful, and the breathing exercise is helpful. If you could open those links straight from here or from Rebecca's email, follow-up email.
And for the people watching this recording too, try to practice this right away while it's fresh. You know, and this ties in with my own notice, name, relax, release technique. You know, I can see this working very well together. What am I feeling right now? And I love that ending statement. And I love and accept myself just as I am. And to tap that in again and again, or I'm willing to love and accept myself just as I am. Boy, just to tap that in and say that again and again and again, it gives me goosebumps. And as we said, for the very end of it, and it was like, and I love you, Becky. I love you, Rebecca. It made me a little teary. Yeah. You've given us a beautiful gift today, Elizabeth.
Thank you. Thank you. It's hard to do justice to tapping in a short time frame, but I hopefully I provided something that you guys can take home with you.
And now we know we have something else to put in our mindfulness tool chest. We know the tapping spots. We know some of the wording. We know the acknowledgement of what we're doing. And I noticed the system too. First, you're acknowledging where you are, and then you're bringing yourself up back to, but I love and accept myself just as I am.
Right.
And I loved it too when you said
honoring ourselves.
Yeah. And honoring the experience, the human experience you're having right now.
Exactly.
Thank you very much. And thank you for everyone watching the recording and who are on the live call. I hope that this Atomic Mindfulness event has been a beautiful, fulfilling, and valuable experience for you. And I have such love and admiration and gratitude for you and to you for showing up for this experience. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Rebecca, for all the hard work you did to put it on. I know it's a lot of work, and you're absolutely wonderful.
Thank you.
I
enjoyed it so much. I was just thinking this morning, I thought, oh my gosh, how lucky am I that I love this work so much and that it feeds my soul so much. So it's my absolute pleasure to be here and to do that. All right. Thank you, everyone. Let's go out there now and let's tap into our light. And let's bring some nice and beautiful light into the world.
Yes. Yep. That's what we're here for. I love it. It was so nice to see you, Rebecca, and to meet everyone who was here.
Thank you.
We'll all be in touch, I hope.
Thank you, Snaps. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Take care. Bye.